Meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right. Hillary?
Aye.
Freddie?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Kirsty?
Aye.
Aye for me. We'll move into celebrations. ISAT scores with Mr. Kevin Gifford.
Kevin's going to share some, he's been working really hard on this with our teams, and he's going to share some, we don't have it all completed, but we do have some good things to share. And I have not touched the heat, just so you all know. But,
I'll talk in more minute.
yeah.
No, this is just a broad overview because we don't have final official results yet, but this will give you an idea of where we're at. I did put the IRI at the top. We have about 85% of our scores in so far. So it's likely going to change a little bit from where we're at, but currently, and I have to also say the IRI this year is a brand new test. With the Mira, you may have heard, I don't know if any teachers have reached out. It's been a growing experience for us, the district and the whole state. This test is very much dependent on oral input from the students, whereas before everything was just clicking things on a computer. So it's been a very different type of test as well. So it's not a true compare. It's really not fair to compare last year to this year because it's, again, a completely different test. But last year we were at 69% proficiency overall, K3, and this year that's where we're at the moment. It could again change 1 or 2% with what's left out there. But one of the things I did note as I've looked through this data, next month, by the way, I'll give you plenty of detail. You'll get to see by grade level, by school, you'll get to see all that. But I did note we historically have had a challenge. Our kindergarten scores have been pretty high, and then we have this big drop to first grade, and then it comes back up second and third. With the new test, I'm not seeing that big drop. K-1 and stays a lot more consistent on the test. I don't know if that's the test. Next year when we have a second year of data to look at, we'll get a better idea of that. And then the third grade scores are higher than the old test too. So again, I don't know exactly what that indicates, but it gives me a little bit of hope that maybe this testing will help us level out some things. And then on the ISATs, ELA, remember this is 3rd through 8th grade and then 11th grade. Our ELA did not change overall when you put all the grade levels together. But I did note in 8th grade, we have 55% of our students at proficient, which is up 5% from last year. And 11th grade is 60%, which is up 3% from last year. So at the end of our years, we're getting that sudden acceleration. It's the earlier years on the ISAT that we're not making a lot of progress yet. And as you know, we've just approved a new elementary curriculum for ELA, which the curriculum and our effort of going through that and tightening up our instructional practices and all that, I think will definitely help with that. And at the middle school level, we introduced a reading class this year, and next year it's going to go to a full year of reading instead of just the half year. So we have some things in place to address that. So it does not look like we will meet the 2% increase goal in the reading area this year. However, in math, we're at 3% growth over last year. So it looks like we will meet the goal in math. And that's pretty consistent on most grade levels, showing growth there. When I put this data in a cohort model, meaning I look at this year's 4th graders, I look at their 3rd grade end of the year last year and then this year. So I'm looking at the same kids over 2 years. When I look at that view, there's a couple of things that stood out to us already that we'll be looking at with our principals in June when we have our end of the year meeting. Let me see, make sure I say the right, from 4th to 5th grade that year, that 5th grade year in ELA, and 6th to 7th, so that 7th grade year in ELA, we have pretty consistent gains across all schools there. And then in math, 7th to 8th grade, so that 8th grade year was another good year of gains. So we saw some positives there that we can try to glean on what they're doing to figure out. And then we noticed 2 areas that we will spend some time looking at and diving into. In math, our 4th to 5th, so that 5th grade year, we had a consistent drop across all buildings. So we need to look at what's going on in that 5th grade year of math. And then in ELA, 5th to 6th, so that 6th grade ELA.
And some of that's that transition from elementary to middle school probably, but we'll look at that data specifically, see if we can isolate some things to focus on. So the data is going to give us some good information, but I'm happy to say that we have met the math goal at least. And science was not a goal, but Kuna Middle School, I don't know if anyone's here from Kuna Middle School, I promised them I would give them a shout out because they let me know we set our own goal even though the district didn't set one for us, right? And so the 8th grade science team with the 6th and 7th grade partners, they had a goal to improve in science and they went from 28 to 46% of their students, so 18% increase. And as a district then I put that, because in science we only do it in 5th, 8th, and 11th. So we have 4% increase in science as well. So there's some good things going on, and then obviously things that we'll keep looking at and we'll keep addressing. So I'm excited to see that we've met the goal in math. We did well in science, and even in the ELA, we'll learn from the IRI and the new Amira, and then I'm excited for the changes coming. And at least in the ELA, the end of the two final years of testing show that something good is happening. So anyway, I'll stand for any questions. Again, more details to come next month.
And next month, you'll compare those to the rest of the state and
Yes.
and all that.
Yeah, so that we can have lots of different perspectives on
We
it.
just don't have all that yet.
Yeah.
Just a
Little early glimpse.
I'm trying to remember. I don't trust my brain. I know in math, overall, I think we're generally ahead of the state. In ELA, I can't remember where we were at. So,
We can wait.
yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely have all that for you. So, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, reports, budget.
He's
still in a meeting?
office on another board call.
Okay.
He said he would try to be done soon, but if we can come back to it, that
Yep.
would be helpful for him.
Perfect. We
Better
can do
come
that.
back with some savings.
I hope so. Better be good news.
Just a tight.
All right. Next up, patron comment. Do we have any? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to new business. First up, consider Reed Roof Project, Assistant Superintendent Brian Graves.
Yeah. Chairman Board of Trustees, I will have news for Trustee Wheeler about savings. This is our last big project from the House bill. This was part of our House Bill 10-year project, was the Reed roof replacement. On April 17th, we opened up the sealed bids. We had 4 responsive bids. The next slide just shows you a bad picture, according to Jason, of the bid tabulations from, this project is, Bennington's not overseeing this project, LKV. But E&H Quality Construction was the lowest responsive bid. And so maybe I shouldn't trust architects, but they kind of had estimated this project somewhere in the 500 to 600 range. So they were very impressed with the bid of 382, and they said this was a company they'd worked with before, so they were very happy.
I make a motion that we accept E&H Quality Construction at $382,000.
I have one quick question on that.
Yeah.
Ryan. How do we, this is just for my information, how do we confirm that their scope was correct? I mean, that's a pretty big swing for a job like this. And I bid jobs all the time and I see
Absolutely.
different numbers. This is just for my information because I don't know the process. What do we do to make sure that we, because if they bid it and they're like, oh, we messed up, do we hold them to it?
Yes.
And so they have to figure it out.
Yes.
Okay. I guess that's what I care about is, do we have a good solid contract to make sure that if they miss something?
Well, sometimes if they miss something, then they give a change order.
They'll request a change order if there's mistakes, but no, the nice thing is you don't have me in charge of this. LKV, our architect partners, are completely in charge of it with Musgrove Engineering. So they're the ones that set the bid package, they're the ones that set all the parameters that they have to meet with the bid. And
So they confirm it and then it's between them and the sub?
I sit in the room, he opens all the bids, he checks whether they're responsive, whether they have their their bonding, whether they're insured, whether they have their 5% that they have to have.
And you said that they've used these guys before and they're
Yeah.
been good. They vouched for them, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that these actual bids are in our Google Drive, so you can look at the
I can go
actual
through it.
bid if you want to. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second JD's motion.
Sorry.
Your kid, that was a good question.
That's a good question.
All right, Kirsty,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Freddie,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
aye for me. All right, motion passes. Next up,
Oh, I think we're still,
Yeah, it's me for
Yeah.
3 more. So, because we opened this on April 17th, we tell them our intent is to bid the lowest bid. So they've been up there, and this is where hopefully I'm gonna lean on Trustee Wheeler, but I do have it on my Google to what this means. But they have offered us, instead of, so that all the companies were to bid at 60 MIO, white TPO, and I can, it's, you wanna read it?
plastic polyfit.
The membrane, it says this is higher quality. He said that they can do 80 instead. With doing 80 mil, we would then have a warranty of, instead of 20 years, it would be 30 years on the membrane. It would include a puncture guarantee for the term limit up to 16 hours per year. And that price would be an additional $67,800. So I brought it just to you alone because if you total that against those, it's a difference of $2,050. Again, I am not construction, but I assume DNA Roofing wouldn't bid change it to 80 for less than $2,000. But I just felt like I had to bring it to you guys to see if you wanted this change order. They haven't started the project yet, obviously you guys just approved them. But instead of doing 60 mil, we could do 80. It would then be $2,050 more than the second bid for the additional 20 mil TPO and the 10 years guarantee. So I will let you guys discuss if we say yes to that change order that fast, or we just stay with the project as it was written.
I personally think we do the change order.
I mean, 10 extra years is substantial.
yeah, that's quite a bit.
And if our next lowest responsive bidder was roughly that same price difference at the 60 mil,
I make a motion that we accept the change order with E&H Construction for $67,800.
You know what mill we have on the rest of our roofs?
According to Google, it averages 45 to 60.
Oh, we're leveling up.
We opened Reed in 2007. 2006 is the first, fall of 2006.
years ago, yep.
So the roof was probably done prior to that.
Yeah.
So are we keeping this building for 30 years?
that is yeah.
Well done.
Do we want to just throw a tarp on this? I'm kidding.
Got some life out of Hubbard and Indian Creek and.
Yeah.
You guys already did, I mean,
Did somebody second it?
I don't
Nobody
know.
seconded it
I
yet,
second.
but- Okay. All right, Kirsty,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Freddie,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
aye for me. All right. Keep going.
consider water heater replacement. Reed Elementary and Crimson Point. This is a project we could do in-house with Johnny, our maintenance man, supervising this. This is just replacing the original water heater from Reed and the same one in Crimson Point. We had 2 bids. Unique Plumbing was $66,730. TVR just split their bid and saying it would be $33,846 for one school and the other school. So combine it for $73,000. This will be using the, it's not 24-25 waterfall money for the smaller capital projects. But we could do this project on the side this summer.
What do you mean we can do it?
So Johnny, our maintenance manager, oversees this.
Oh, okay, like
So
contracts.
If we don't use LKV, we don't use Musgrove, or we don't use Bennington, and I would say that in front of them, but it saves us
Yep.
their fees.
I make a motion that we accept Unique Plumbing bid for replacing the 2 water heaters at Reed Elementary and 2 water heaters at Crimson Point for $66,730.
I second.
All right, Hillary,
Aye.
Freddie,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Kirsty,
Aye.
aye for me.
I don't know if you need I don't know if there's slides to click on or
I
not.
don't think so. There shouldn't be.
Let's-
All right, so I just wanted to have a discussion about our ISBA membership. Our membership, we would renew it in July, and it's coming up. So I just wanted to kind of get everybody's feelings about that, kind of some thoughts. You should have gotten an email yesterday with what we
Hey,
pay, and then what, some of the things that we can do with ISBA. So just open it up for a discussion about it. It is an action item, but we don't have to take action. We have until next month to make a decision, really, what we want to do there. So I wanted to have a discussion about it.
Misty is here.
Yeah, and Misty's here to answer any questions that we have, if we have anything on ISBA specific that we need an answer to, so.
for reference, I think unless everybody didn't see it, I think it's $12,000,
Yeah, 12,000 and some change, I
a
think.
little over $12,000.
And that includes, part of that is, excuse me, I got a lot of dust in my throat right now, so. Dusty filled. I guess for me, the biggest thing with ISBA is them being a voice for public schools at the State House. And I know that, because I think we've kind of voted on different different resolutions that other boards have come up with, and then they kind of sponsor those at the State House. And I think that's really important, an important aspect that they have and that they do. And the way public education is perceived currently, I think it's important that we still have a seat at the table, somebody there that's fighting for public education, whether that's them or if something else happens. But
What's the alternative if we don't do the ISBA? Like, we just do it on our own? Like, what does that look like?
Well, this is to represent specifically school boards. And there's other educational lobbyists and associations that lobby for public education at the legislative level. This is just one that supposedly represents school boards.
Do you know any of the others?
No. There's like the Teachers Union, Idaho Education Association or something like that. IEA, isn't that?
IASA.
What is it?
IASA,
IASA.
Idaho Association of School Administrators.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the school administrators. Is there a superintendent's association as well? Or is that the same thing?
That's kind of.
Same.
Same thing.
That's Andy Grover and.
Mm-hmm. So, and I do know that in a lot of the positions that the School Boards Association has taken, and I haven't specifically paid attention to every detail of it, but I feel like there's quite a few school board members and community members that kind of take issue with the direction that legislation has gone. And maybe not some people would think that it's not in line. I'm not making this as a statement for myself, but I do know that some people have brought it up as a concern about their positions and it fitting with the way that Idaho should be. But like I said, I personally haven't paid attention specifically to their legislation other than what gets reported here.
I guess there's three major things, right, that they help us with, and that's staying compliant and helping us write policies, advocating at the state level for public education, which if we went in a different direction, we definitely need to make sure we have some backing at the state level. I personally, I think we should wait on the action item until next month. I think there's some other things coming down the pipe maybe that could help us in our decision next month.
Like, for instance, what might that be?
I think,
A new lobbyist?
possibly.
Yeah. I haven't found a lot of value in the training that we've received, most specifically the one that we just had.
I will second that.
I felt, and I do feel like the training that we've received has not been like, try to get the school board to, you know, help us get from A to B, point A to point B, like as far as, you know, taking the next steps. It seems like it's a lot more like, make sure that you are not saying the wrong thing, not doing the wrong thing. And I think that that's kind of, you know, I'd like a different angle. I'd like a different voice, and I think we don't use them for policy. We use our lawyer for policy. So we haven't used them for policy. We're really only using them for training purposes, and so there's other options for training that's available online that we can do, and I'd like to see us take a break and maybe take a year off and reevaluate joining the ISBA in the future.
Well, I know we do resolutions and stuff, but not very many of them have had a big impact at the State House, not to where I justify paying $12,000 a year.
I'm less concerned about like 12 grand, considering our budget shortfalls. Like, I don't think the 12 grand for me is the deal breaker, but I would concur with what Hillary said. I don't feel like, as long as we have a foundation, like something to keep us within some boundaries, I haven't felt like the ISBA has done much for me. The training that we just had, we might as well have sat here for an hour and read the Attorney General's outline of public open meeting law, and it would have been just as helpful. I was a little bit disappointed in the realm of hiring a superintendent and the process that they held us to for that. I'm happy with for the record, I'm happy with our outcome. No, I think we had, Marcus, close your ears. No, I think we had, I'm happy with our outcome, but the process, and Marcus may or may not speak to this later, but the process I found clunky and awkward, and I mean, Kim, when you interview teachers to hire them, do you have a conversation with them? Is it a back and forth?
And we were advised not to ask any questions. And we were really frustrated by that process, and then doing some looking. I mean, personally, I did some looking and it felt really unnecessary. I feel like we could have done some more back and forth, but we were kind of led to believe we'd be breaking the law in that case.
Well, and I think it would have helped us connect with the candidates a little better. I think most of them walked out of here thinking they didn't know us any better. Like, there was really no connection other than we asked specific questions per the ISBA's direction, and quite frankly, I just wasn't that impressed with it. And I think if there's a better foundation out there to just make sure we stay within the realm of what's legal, I mean, we have our own attorney and we can get counsel with that respect. I'm open to a different avenue.
I'm open to a different avenue as well.
And I think, you know, we can do some training online. I think not joining ISBA for a year doesn't mean that we don't ever revisit it if it starts to go in a different direction, but I'd like to see us give that a try.
I think there's been some counsel with the superintendents on this a little bit too, and I think there's some information that might be coming down in the next month that might help us as well. But it might help.
Well, like
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you guys. I'm just saying.
You better not.
I'm just saying there might be some information that helps us in the future.
But like, what are you, I mean, do you have some information like that's coming? Or, because I mean, Jason Knopp gave me a call and talked about his position as.
Who did?
Jason Knopp will be the new lobbyist working for them full time, and And I don't know how that'll change or not, but it's not gonna change the training modules and the superintendent hiring and the board clerk trainings and things like that.
I'm okay with voting on it now and not waiting. And to have a foundation, like Freddie was saying too, that whatever that would look like.
JD, is your position, I'm just trying to follow what
Yeah.
you're.
I think the SIC is meeting and discussing this same thing.
Like what, like?
The superintendents of the SIC.
But what are they discussing, like?
I wasn't there, I just know they're talking about this issue.
Like whether ISBA is good for boards to be a part of, or something about it?
Yes. I can't say,
Okay.
but I don't have that information.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I don't think it would hurt us to vote on it next month.
It sounds to me like your concern is you feel like the ISBA brings value because of their lobbying, right?
Mostly, yeah.
And so your position is, I'm just trying to
I
follow.
want to make sure that we have a voice there before we don't renew this.
Because the lobbying part is less, I mean, I shouldn't say it's less concerning. My real issue is the ISBA, so far, I don't see a lot of value to our school board. It doesn't mean that there's not important things that need to be lobbied for public education, right? I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that or that we shouldn't have something in place for that. But as far as if we're paying the ISBA 12 grand a year so that we have like a framework to work from, and we don't feel like we're getting a framework to work from that's helpful for what we need, that's my position. But I think we're on the same page, but for different reasons. I think your issue is we need somebody to lobby, and you see that there's going to be some changes possibly, and so the lobbying might be different. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
I just don't think it will hurt us to wait till next month, but you guys make a motion and we'll vote on it, so. That's why we have a board of 5 people, so.
I'd like to make a motion that we do not, I don't think we have a contract, but continue for the next school year or year to be a member of ISBA.
I second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I have a question. I don't know if anybody knows this. So if we don't renew, is it just, can we jump back in 6 months or 3 months, or is it you go a full year cycle? Misty, do you know the answer to that?
I know lots of answers. I'm biting my tongue. At any point, you can.
Is it all or nothing? It's like the 12th, like if we just said, hey, we want to support your lobbying, is it still $12,000?
Our membership services and benefits is a whole package. So everything that we offer, including, immediate guidance on laws as they change. We just issued a huge guidance on teacher union activity. So the teacher union law passed, and which greatly restricts what happens with teacher unions in your districts. So we immediately released something that's multiple pages to guide boards and districts to ensure you're following guidance. So everything like that would just stop. All the things we issue to your district leadership and your clerk and to the board would stop effective June 30th.
Do you guys find value in that stuff, Kim?
I think Deanne has used it quite a bit for the clerk to make sure she's doing what we're supposed to be doing. And
You
so
can also
that,
find it though.
sure.
I
I
mean,
will,
It's the law, so the guidance and interpretation of the law would be according to the lawyer at ISBA.
Misty, if they went back, like let's just say in some months, let's say 5 months, is it still $12,000, or is there it's still 12, or?
It would be prorated.
Okay, that was my question, just wondering.
I think we could look into finding a lobbyist of some sort in other avenues too. It doesn't have to be through ISBA.
You got something? Jason?
Just wondering if there is the potential to partner with a lobbyist in some other way, some of the ISBA funds usable for that is just a curiosity I have.
Yeah.
Or are we trying to save 12 grand?
I don't think the money is the only consideration. It's one, in my opinion, but not the top.
Okay. Kirsty,
Aye.
JD,
No.
Freddie,
Aye.
Hillary.
Aye.
No for me. Motion passes. All right. Move on to, do we want to move to Jonathan, or do we want
You
to?
don't need to pull up the whole schedule for me, sorry. But I can go if you're ready.
I can wait.
Can you wait?
You're going to wait?
Sorry.
My apologies. There's been lots of budget meetings. So I had promised you a really boring board meeting. And you got out of really boring for a little bit longer, mostly because I'm still working on your budget. We have it pretty much, general fund, pretty much identified. We need to get it uploaded in the system so I can run some more checks. So you're not gonna get entirely out of a boring board meeting. You're just gonna get the opportunity to have it in a more condensed fashion. So my apologies that the board is still coming. So what have we been working on? I'm gonna talk through budget timeline and process. So what has Charter Impact been doing? Reviewing cash receipts, disbursements, and accounting transactions. So part of the budget process really for me is kind of taking a look holistically at everything that's happened all year and trying to really try to understand, is there ways we can save money? Is there ways we can do things differently? Is there any way that I can try to reduce your general fund losses, right? Because we've kind of talked through, you already budgeted for a loss this year, then we had revenues that were down. And so now how do we try to recoup any way possible? How creative can we get? So that's what's been taking a little while as I learn more about Kuna and as I learn to say, okay, here's some things we might be able to do differently. So I'm reviewing financial position both for the current year and identifying any future year opportunities to essentially save money and what that can look like in impacts. And so part of the budget process then is when I identify what it'll look like for 26, 27, and then sit down and talk to you about that. We'll also try to work on putting together what a plan looks like to try to get you back to zero. So remember, we've kind of talked a little bit, that's gonna take us a little while, and so we're gonna work through what that process looks like. Working to identify capture any savings. I've also been working on curriculum purchases, so seeing how creative we can get with knowing that we need to purchase curriculum, but how can we stretch that budget impact and what does that look like? And so there are some ways that we can do that both from an accounting perspective and through negotiations with our curriculum provider. And so I've been able to have the opportunity to work with that on both, so thank you, Kevin, for.
So Kevin's been able to get the ELA.
Yeah. So.
We tag team.
Yeah, it was fun. So it's always, but I think it'll be great for kids. And so we'll figure out how to make sure that the budgetary impact is as light as we can be. And then literally, it's working on budget all the time. It's pretty much been my life. So budget timeline, why are we not having a meeting? Partially it's also insurance impacts. So that's been a fun last. So if you've heard at all the opportunity, anywhere between school districts and charters have anywhere between 10% and 30% increases. You guys were right in the middle, 19.5 before we started to work through options. And so that kind of takes everything and puts a stop on the brakes, right? Because it's not a cost that normally we would see. Usually insurance impacts are anywhere between 6 and 8% annually. And so while you don't like it to go up, you kind of plan for that in your head and you kind of work through what that budget's gonna look like as you start the budgetary process. 19.5 to start with was not necessarily a number we were prepared for. So that's taken a little bit of time of how do we evaluate that? What does that look like? What are gonna be the impacts on the budget? And then I'm really working through final budget adjustments. So like I said, we're really close. We've tried to upload it into your ERP system to basically track that. We're running into a couple bumps there. So I'm hoping that tomorrow maybe I can get that figured out. And then we're gonna have a meeting later this week with Marcus and Kim, and we're gonna start talking through, I think it's actually tomorrow, it's not later this week, but it feels like later this week because tomorrow is later in the week. We're basically gonna go through, that's how it's been the last few days. And so we're gonna go through the budget and I'm gonna try to figure out what it is general fund impact will be. I think if you remember, like when we talked about the budget, we were putting together a 2-year plan. So you should anticipate when you see the budget this year, it's still gonna look like we're having losses, right? And so now it's gonna be more about, okay, what is the loss in fund balance and how are we mitigating that? And then what are the decisions that we're gonna make so that in future years that loss goes away? So I just wanna prep you. Don't expect a balanced budget when you come, but it's more about the plan to get us out of the negative losses we're incurring. And then ideally I wouldn't be able to publish in the paper by around the end of May, first part of June, because that's a requirement in code. You have to publish and have it published 10 days in advance. So this way people want to come to your budget hearing. So that's why we're cruising for a timeline. There'll be a budget hearing in June. That one will also be exciting. There'll be some PowerPoints. Sometimes I even put some pictures in, so that's really exciting for me. It's not just words. You will still continue to see the wood slats. That will not change. Maybe a PowerPoint and like a graph on it, just so that it makes it feel fun. And with that, questions you have? Sorry, I would have loved to be able to have the budget ready for you. I think we're a couple days out.
This was entertaining, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to make it as fun as possible, especially when they're gonna be this quick. So the budget presentation, I'll try to make fun too, but.
And so you're saying we're gonna set another meeting that's not a board meeting, that's,
Yeah, we'll have to just like a budget workshop conversation. And so unfortunately, I'm just not able to, insurance really, I was feeling really good until about the middle of last week. And then that was, I'll just be honest, it was kind of a good shot. It's like, okay, well, let's go back to the drawing board a little bit and let's try to figure out what stuff could look like.
I don't think that's bad, because then we can kind of focus on it, so.
Yeah, and then it'll just be focused. Like I said, I'll try to make it as exciting as possible. Some people do games. I haven't been that exciting yet, but maybe I could come up with something. There we go. You and I can see that.
Carried away.
Try to make it fun. Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, awesome.
Sorry.
Any other questions? Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jonathan. All right, thanks, Cam. Let's move to you. Consider purchase of E-rate materials and supplies. Mr. Cam Elwood.
A little earlier this year than last year, we have our 5-year plan for our updating our network equipment laid out, so we're able to jump on right when the window opened to apply for this. For a little history, what E-rate is, it's a federal program that helps schools and libraries afford networking equipment, our access points, our switches, getting internet to the kids so they can actually use their devices, and teachers can use their computers to teach. It's a discount rate. It's decided based on the amount of students that are eligible for the National School Lunch Program, and if you're in an urban or rural environment. We are currently at a 70% discount rate, which is awesome. There's a nationwide bidding process that goes on with this. They all send us in. We get to review them and score the bids to award them. Next. A little bit about what our current project is updating our end-of-life, end-of-support network equipment. We did Indian Creek and Initial Point this past year. We're planning on doing Hubbard, Kuna Middle, and Reed next year, and then another 2 or 3 schools the year after, and eventually at the end of this 5 years, all of our schools will be updated. And then we get to start again in another 5 or 10 years down the road from there. The bids we received back for this project, Ednetics at $219,609.54 was the lowest. And our percentage that we need to pay is $65,882.86. And we have this built into our technology budget every year. So.
Have we used them before?
Ednetics, yes, they actually are the ones that we went with last year.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, so.
Kuna High graduate.
They're a huge, they're a big partner with us. They're great to work with.
Started the company, doesn't own it.
Unicorn company.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the E-rate items for the amount of $65,882.86.
I second.
All right, Hillary,
Aye.
ready?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Kirsty?
Aye.
Aye for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion? Kirsty?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Ready?
Aye.
Hillary?
Aye.
Aye for me as well. All right, good of the order. We have Initial Point High School graduation May 20th at 6 p.m. in the K-PAC. And then the next day, Kuna High School graduation May 21st at 2:30 at the Fort Idaho Center. I think we have passes to go to the back, is that right?
Yeah, we'll
Or-
make sure you have that, because then you can drive right to the straight back there.
It's Robbie's job.
It's
We need to be
Robbie's
there.
job to get us that, yep.
Yeah, just park, just go to the back entrance to the,
But do we need a pass?
no, just say your school board.
Because I've never had a pass.
If you bring your trustee
Yeah, I was
thing
gonna
like
say, if
Grant
you show
has,
your badge.
I don't have a badge.
Yeah. You don't have a badge?
No.
I
You
have
don't have a
badge.
little badge?
don't you have your athletic pass that?
I have the
works.
little one that gets me into the app.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that works.
It doesn't say my name or anything.
Wait, you don't have that athletic?
Should say trustee on it.
Should say.
Just says trustee, I think.
Flash
Yeah.
this.
Well, if that's what gets me, I have
It
it.
works. Did you say the police?
I got it.
What time do we need to be?
I think if
Half hour
you
before.
Great, I was
by
like,
two, just because the traffic will be crazy, you know, but you'll go right past that guy who sits in a little booth and you just flash your little.
Drive very cool.
It works, I promise.
It does
I've done
work.
it a few years, but.
I don't even know if you have to show them that. You just tell them you're a school board.
I think.
Yeah.
They're like, who would make that up?
Loser.
Yeah.
I will be out of town. Really? Yeah, my niece is graduating.
Okay, so what, yeah, I was gonna say, who's going to all of these? Is everybody, you're not gonna be at either one?
I will not be able to be at either one, unfortunately. I'm very sad that
Should be able.
I gotta go support my niece, so.
I plan to be both.
What'd you say?
I'd make a motion that we adjourn.
Usually everybody's at.
And normally I do, yeah, I do both. They're great. You should do both. They're amazing. They really are. Initial points is great.
Points is at the KPAC, and theirs is a little bit different. They talk about each of the graduates.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Really?
It is.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
The high school one, you'll shake hand, give diplomas and shake hands.
They're both really fun.
Yeah.
And they shoo us out.
I don't think we have to talk Freddie into it. I think he's on board.
I was planning on going,
He's already coming.
but I feel like, I feel like now if I back out, it'll feel real awkward.
I think he's already seconded the motion.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Kirsty,
Aye.
JD,
Aye.
Freddie,
Aye.
Hillary,
Aye.
aye for me.
That might be.